Easter's in full bloom at Whole Foods Market with great deals on spiral cut bone-in ham and leg of lamb, both crowd pleasers. Round out your spread with quiche, deviled eggs, and delicious catering platters from Prepared Foods. Oh, and remember to pick up a Whole Foods Market bunny cake from the bakery. Strapped for time? They cater too, with delicious options available without the effort. Find hundreds of Easter deals and delights now at Whole Foods Market.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome to Sugar-Coated Murder Podcast, a brilliant true crime podcast hosted by two zany sisters, all while baking up delicious treats in their kitchen. Here are your podcast hosts, Karen Devaney and Ann Varner.
It is us. We are here.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. I'm Ann Varner.
And I am Karen Devaney.
And this is Sugar-Coated Murder Podcast.
I mean, in the flesh and blood.
Indeed.
In the flesh and
here,
blood.
Right here in the blood.
Yes.
In the
very
flesh.
much. In the flesh and in the blood. I'm trying to adjust our sound a little bit. I'm not sure why we're so low tonight. We're low talkers. But...
So we'll think we're really low, and then we'll talk really loud, and then it'll be like, wow!
I know. That's our luck. That is very true. Happy belated Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope everybody had a wonderful turkey day and that you gobbled until you wobbled.
Yes, and hopefully you didn't have to do too much work. You got some relaxation time in there as well.
And also had some yummalicious food.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of food, I decided I'm not baking tonight. And the reason is because I'm still full from Thanksgiving.
Oh, well, you didn't think about anybody else.
Nope.
I'm not full from Thanksgiving.
I'm full from Thanksgiving, and I'm tired of being in the kitchen.
I saved enough room.
You saved enough room for Thanksgiving. Oh, Lord, sugar. Lord. But I will talk about some of the things I made at Thanksgiving. And you can too if you want to, but you don't have to.
I don't think I made anything spectacular.
So for dessert, because you and your kin came
me
for
and my
our
kin.
dessert.
Yes.
Well, first of all, our main dish was ribs.
Right.
Because we are not big turkey fans. We're not big ham fans. And so we went with ribs for Thanksgiving. I think for Christmas, we're either going Italian or Polish or a combo.
Right.
But for dessert, I made 2 Swiss rolls.
Oh, yeah. They were delish.
Thank you. One was with peanut butter cream, and one was with the vanilla cream, but I crushed up candy canes in it.
Oh, it was
and
really good.
I really enjoyed that one a lot.
It was just enough mint flavor, so it wasn't like toothpastey.
Yes.
It was just light enough.
And I don't know that I crushed them up enough because they were a little chunky, but I do enjoy that texture.
Yeah.
I like texture in my food. I don't like it to be all one note or just, I don't like that smooth.
No, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And it was covered in ganache and it was yummy. And I had a good time making them. First time I'd ever made Swiss rolls.
Oh, they turned out beautiful. You got a great swirl.
I got a great swirl. Yes. My daughter said she was going to judge me like Paul Hollywood. I didn't get a handshake, but she did say it was a good swirl. So, but the favorite thing that I made over the Thanksgiving holiday were these sandwiches that we have decided to call Pilgrims.
Oh.
And so what we did, because we don't cook the turkey. So you would use leftover turkey.
Uh-huh.
We don't ever have leftover stuffing. So you would normally do leftover stuffing.
Right.
But I went and got some boar's head roasted turkey breast and had them cut it kind of thick. So it would, because when you cut turkey for Thanksgiving, it's not thin.
Right.
And then we got some brioche bread. I made a Dijonnaise.
A Dijonnaise.
We did Dijonnaise, and then we did a layer of turkey. And then I cooked more stuffing, but I cooked it on a cookie sheet on a baking pan flat.
Right.
And then I cut it into squares, and I laid that on top of the turkey. No. First, I took a piece of bread, and I covered it in gravy.
Oh, I don't know what that was.
That's kind of scary.
A little bit.
I covered it in gravy. And then I warmed those in the oven. And then I put those over the turkey. And then I put the stuffing on top of it. So those are the moist makers.
Right.
That's from Monica Geller's Moist Maker sandwich from Friends.
Right.
And then you can put cranberry sauce on it. We don't. We put Durkee's onions on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we put the next piece of bread, but then I grill it almost like a grilled cheese.
Oh, nice.
So it gets grilled on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Huge hit.
Oh, good.
Huge hit. We had those the night that we put the Christmas tree up.
Very nice.
Yeah. So if anybody wants any of those recipes, let me know. But anyway, after you talk about your murder, I'll talk about something else I want to talk about.
Well, there you go. I'll get on. I'll get on with it.
He's on the run from the law, falsely accused of murdering his... Wait. Oh, got my scripts mixed up here. Here we go. This makes more sense. The Movie Wire Podcast with host Justin Henson. Hear Justin's movie verdict wherever you listen to podcasts. Tune in to The Movie Wire today.
We are the Brutal, Bizarre, and Boozy Podcast. I'm Declan, the son.
And I'm Jane, the mom. This is the podcast where we talk about brutal crimes like serial killers and the random one-off murder. We will tell you about bizarre occurrences like alien abductions and monsters in the dark. And we just might get you drunk with cocktails themed around one of our stories.
At the very end of every show, we like to lighten things up and cleanse the palate from the tragic and terrifying stories. So we end our time with a chaser. You might get to hear crazy stories about our pets or just silly movie recommendations.
Give us a listen. We are the Brutal, Bizarre, and Boozy Podcast.
Get on with it, girl.
This is crazy. This story is crazy, and I can't believe I hadn't heard it before.
Oh, wow.
This is the story of Mike Malloy. Mike was living in New York in the 20s and 30s. And those dates are important because Prohibition started in 1920 and lasted until December of 1933. And Mike was an immigrant from Ireland. He was also a homeless alcoholic.
Oh, dear. During Prohibition? That's
During
tricky.
Prohibition, yeah. And he frequented the speakeasy in the Bronx. It was owned by a man named Tony Marino. Now, not only was the U.S. at that time going through Prohibition, but it was also during the time of the Great Depression.
Yeah.
So it was like a double blow.
It was very depressing.
It was real, real bad, especially for a man who wanted a lot of alcohol. Not easy to come by.
I wouldn't think.
But he managed it. And also at this time, the unemployment rate was at a staggering 50%. Can you imagine that? Oh,
that's scary. That is a really scary number.
Yeah. So people were really desperate for money. Mike took on jobs as a janitor to make money for a room. He would occasionally get a room and stay in it, and for his bar tab.
Oh, gosh.
Whenever he was short on cash, he managed to convince patrons from the speakeasy to buy him drinks.
Oh.
He was a real charmer, this Mike. He had a very thick Irish accent. And at times, Tony, the speakeasy owner, would let him pass out on a cot that he had in the back.
Well,
So
Tony, that's
he
really
found a
nice of you.
Yeah, I know it. Tony and his friends seemed nice enough. Mike was spending a lot of time at the speakeasy. And every day, the same thing, over and over. Drink, pass out, repeat.
Oh, wow.
That was his day. Then there was kind of a shift in the atmosphere at the bar. Mike saw it as a stroke of luck.
Oh.
Tony, his barkeeper, Joe, a friend, Frank, who was also an undertaker, and another friend, Dan, started giving Mike free drinks. Free drinks.
Well, that's a lot of fun.
Yes. And they became really friendly with them, talking, listening to his stories. One day, the group asked Mike to sign a petition to help Tony get elected to local office.
Oh.
And, Mike was like, sure, I'll do whatever. Just give me some more drinks. But Mike really should have looked at those papers.
Oh, no.
Soon after he signed those papers, Joe, the barkeep, told Mike that they had gotten in something new at the bar. And Mike said, serve it up. So he drank it, took it all in one big swoop, and then he hit the floor.
Oh, no.
His new friends dragged him to the back room and waited for him to die.
Excuse me?
But Mike didn't die. He didn't die.
Well, no.
He didn't.
He's resilient,
He
this
didn't
man.
die. Instead, he woke up an hour later and he hit the bar for more.
Oh, dear. He liked what he had.
Yes. Day after day, Joe served Mike drinks with a kick. Y'all can't see me, but I'll put the kick in
It's
air quotes, kick. And day after day, Mike happily drank what was served. One day, Tony served him 24 oysters, also with a kick, and Mike ate them all. And he went so far as to tell Tony, you know what? You should open a restaurant. These are fantastic. These are amazing.
Wow.
The next day, they served him a sardine sandwich. And
Sardine sandwich.
He couldn't believe it. Fantastic. It was amazing.
This man is made of cast iron.
And Mike, he just couldn't believe his good fortune. He's got a full belly and he's getting all these free drinks. He's like, heck yeah, I'm loving it. Then one night he gets like stupid drunk and somehow he ends up in a snowbank naked and freezing.
But
that
doesn't just somehow happen. There's
somehow that happened.
Okay.
But a cop found him and took him to a homeless shelter.
Oh.
Tony and his friends thought they were seeing a ghost the next day when Mike walked into the speakeasy, showered, shaved, and had on a new suit.
No way.
Feeling just as surprised ever.
He's like, hey, a lucky star.
Like, I am the luckiest man alive.
He really is. He seems to be very happy.
That shelter hooked him up.
Amazing.
So more drinking ensued, and after a couple of nights of drinking, it seemed like Mike's good fortune was starting to come to an end. He left the speakeasy again, drunk as a skunk, but he didn't come back for days. And after a couple of weeks, the group at the speakeasy thought, surely he was dead. Surely this man
Surely
is dead.
This is it.
But he wasn't. He wasn't dead. Nope. This is Lucky Mike.
This is like a cat with 90 lives.
He walked into the speakeasy and looked better than ever. And he told him, you guys won't believe what happened to me. I got hit by a car.
No way.
I got hit by a car.
Oh my God.
I got a skull fracture, a concussion, and a broken shoulder. I've been in the hospital for weeks.
And I'm ready for a drink.
Serve it up. I am so thirsty. And these guys were dumbfounded. They just were like, holy crap. And then Mike's luck really did run out.
Oh no, Mike.
Within 2 weeks of this reunion at the speakeasy, it was reported to Prudential Life Insurance Company that Mike Malloy was dead. His death certificate said he died of pneumonia, with alcoholism as a contributing factor.
Okay.
The same information was reported to Metropolitan Life Insurance Company. Would you be surprised at all if I told you that barkeep Joe happened to be the beneficiary?
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
On the life insurance policies?
Wow.
He collected $800 from Metropolitan Life. But when the folks from Prudential showed up to pay out, they said something's kind of off.
Oh, wow.
Something just doesn't seem right.
Something smells like a sardine sandwich.
For one, Joe was in jail, and rumors started kind of swirling around that maybe some insurance fraud had taken place.
Uh-oh.
The insurance company called the police, and the police started an investigation into what's happening because the rumors were really crazy. They started asking around and they came across this man named Dr. Frank Manzella. Turns out that Dr. Frank had a bone to pick with Tony and his friends at the speakeasy.
The speakeasy.
Speakeasy. A group he referred to as the Trust.
The Trust?
The Trust. The Trust had actually hired Dr. Frank to create a false death certificate for Mike.
What?
But they hadn't paid them all the money they said they would, so he was really mad at them. And he told the police. This was enough information for the police to exhume Mike's body. Mike had been buried in a $12 pine box and had not been embalmed, but there was enough there for the medical examiner to do an autopsy. By the way, would it surprise you to know that the undertaker was his friend Frank?
Who's Frank?
Frank
owns the bar.
Another friend at the bar.
Oh, a friend of the bar. I thought Frank owned the bar.
No. Tony
owns the bar. And he's the barkeep.
Joe's the barkeeper.
Oh, Tony and Joe.
And then there's Frank.
Okay.
And Frank turned out to be the undertaker, who is the one who buried Mike. They did find out that Mike, in fact, died of carbon monoxide poisoning. And they also noticed that there were a lot of poisons in his system. Like a lot of poisons.
Well, guess what?
Jesus smells of poison
to poison. The alcohol took care of the poison.
So what the heck happened to Mike Malloy? It all started when Mike's good fortune started to turn at the speakeasy, specifically when Joe said they had something new at the bar. That something new was antifreeze. Right.
That's the one that he drank and fell over and then passed out.
Yes.
And they thought he was dead. And then he woke up and asked for more.
Yes. It just didn't affect Mike. You know why? Because Mike was an alcoholic. His body had an abundance of ethanol in it. And ethanol blocks the absorption of the ethylene glycol, which is the poisoning part of antifreeze.
Wow.
And it makes it
Was that in the oysters too?
No, I'll tell you what was in the oysters. That the ethanol makes it so your liver doesn't absorb the poison. And Mike was good to go. Next, the guys were like, well, crap, the antifreeze didn't work. So then they tried turpentine.
Turpentine?
They would do a shot of liquor with some turpentine in it.
Ew. He had to have tasted that.
I don't think so. He was a very, very bad alcoholic.
Well, then he burned up his taste buds.
I think, yes, because think about Prohibition things. They were drinking like grain alcohol, whatever they could get their hands on. And this is kind of coming out of the end of Prohibition. The alcohol wasn't flowing still.
Right.
So you really didn't know what you were getting. Plus, this is an illegal bar. It's speakeasy, right? So who the hell knows? So then they did the turpentine. Again, nothing. Then they tried horse liniment. Nothing. Rat poison. Nothing.
What?
None of the poisons had any impact on mice. Because they mixed all of these with alcohol.
Yes.
And it counteracted the poison.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
I thought Mike was a superhero. And here it was their fault.
Then they tried wood alcohol, which is like grain, like really, really bad grain alcohol.
Ew.
That's the stuff that'll make you go blind.
Oh, God. Not Mike.
And that is what the oysters had been marinating in.
It's like, you got to open a restaurant.
And the sardines, by the way, that they had on the sandwich were rotten sardines. And they mixed them with a little bit of poison and carpet nails. You know, the really teeny tiny
carpet nails?
Yeah, so sardines, are
they've
bony.
got bones. So he just was
ate metal and poison and rotten sardines on bread. And he was like, A1, guys.
Oh gosh, can I have seconds?
Like, you got to open a restaurant, Tony.
That's the craziest thing. Wow.
Yeah, he was pickled from all the drinking. So whatever they threw at him, nothing. Now, I am going to go back real quick and tell you that petition that Mike had signed was actually a life insurance policy.
I kind of gathered
making Joe the beneficiary. The plan was that the group or the trust would split the money after
in the trust.
So the trust is Tony, the owner of the speakeasy, Joe, the barkeep, Frank, the undertaker.
Oh, he was in on it.
And another guy named Dan. Dan the man.
Dirty Dan.
Wow. Yep. Okay, so the poisons weren't working out, right? And they thought, well, we got to figure out something. How are we going to get rid of this guy? Like, we need to collect on this money. So the night that Mike ended up naked in the snowbank, that was the trust. They had gotten him stupid drunk again and walked him to the park. While he was passed out, they took his clothes and they poured 5 gallons of water on him and left him in a snowbank to die.
Not him.
Right.
He don't care. Bring it.
They had actually done this on another bar patron before. They hadn't been caught. Her name was Betty Carlson, and Tony had been the beneficiary on her life insurance policy. Betty, too, was a raging alcoholic. So they took her to a room, took her clothes, poured water on her and her bed, opened her window in her apartment, and pushed her bed next to the window. And she really did die of pneumonia.
Oh, my gosh. Did they get her life insurance?
They did. They got it.
The trust cannot be trusted.
No. The night that Mike was hit by the cab.
Yeah.
When he said he
was that Dan?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
That had been orchestrated by the trust.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. When the poison and exposure attempts had failed, they actually paid a cab. No, this was not Dan. This guy's name was Hershey Green.
Hershey.
They paid him $150 to run down Mike. They were like, just get in your cab. We'll get him where you needs to be. We're going to hold him up, walk away, and you hit him. Okay.
Oh, God. These
people $150, right? So they get Mike completely drunk out of his mind again, and they stand him in the middle of the street to help. And this Hershey Green takes his cab, he backs it up like 2 blocks so he has enough force to hit him, and he hits Mike, but Mike lands in a snowbank, so he isn't completely annihilated.
Yeah,
that's why he only got a skull fracture and a broken shoulder and a concussion. So he actually lucked out on that one.
My gosh.
Then they were like, okay, this guy just can't be killed. They can't kill him. So on February 22nd of 1933, they get Mike completely drunk again. Mike, really, he's got to stop this. But he doesn't realize what's happening because he wakes up the next day and he's like, I'm
ready to go. These are the best friends.
Oh my God. I got hot meals, a warm bed, and a hospital stay.
My God, and a new suit. And I got the shave. Lord have mercy.
Great luck. So while he's passed out, they actually take him to a room in a building that's just down the street. And they shove a rag in his mouth. And they brought a rubber tube from the bar. And back then, most of the places were heated with gas.
Okay.
So there was a gas pipe on the a lot of times you could hook a heater up to it, you know, like through a propane, whatever. And so they just put the rubber, what do I call it?
Tube.
On the pipe coming out of the wall, turn the gas on and put the tube down his throat. And he was passed out. He had no idea. It's completely passed out. And then they left him. And so he died of carbon monoxide poisoning.
Good gosh.
Brutal, right?
They really are brutal.
Mean. Here poor Mike was
$800, and they've spent more than $800 on all the stuff it took to kill him.
They got $150. They paid the cab driver. They had promised the one guy $50, but they had only paid him half.
Oh, for the fake death certificate,
right? Because they needed the payout on the life insurance. But the other lady,
they had to buy a hose. They were giving him free drinks from the bar. I'm saying it costs money.
Yeah, well, that was the big thing. They were like, okay, we got to kill this guy.
All the poisoning all the different poisons that they invested in. Then they're giving the guy free drinks, and the guy doesn't go down with just a couple shots. He's an alcoholic.
Right.
Like, he's taking on a half gallon.
Yeah, he's definitely costing them money at this point.
I think they spent more money trying to kill them than they actually got from the insurance policy.
Oh, my God. Oh, too much. So Tony Marino, Frank Pasquay, Joe Murphy, and Daniel Christberg all were sentenced to death and died in the electric chair for the murder of Mike Malloy.
Oh, my gosh.
Dr. Frank Mangella and Hershey Green went to prison, but I could never figure out for how long.
Okay.
And it's so sad because in all of the articles that I read, everything that I read, there's only one picture of Mike, and that's when after his body was exhumed. So I can't share that picture with anybody.
No.
I'll share a picture of the speakeasy. Not that really matters, but there's nothing else they can't
even put a victim picture up. So we'll just I'll just make a picture that says R.I.P. Mike Malloy.
Oh yeah. Maybe behind like a 4-leaf clover, because he got a name of Iron Mike from it.
Oh my gosh. I'm sure he did.
Because he wouldn't die.
He wouldn't.
He was amazing.
He was really amazing.
Amazing. Wow. To go through all of that, rat poison, turpentine, horse liniment. Antifreeze.
How about nails?
Rotten sardines, wood alcohol oysters. He's good to go.
Turpentine.
I mean, he got hit by a car. Good to go.
Wow.
Nearly froze to death.
R.I.P. Iron Mike.
I never heard that before, but actually I did read where when the medical examiner had the body exhumed and did their autopsy, that was the first autopsy that was done by a newly created medical examiner's office in New York. So that was fortunate that they had got that up and running.
Yeah.
So that they could at least figure out what the hell happened to this poor guy.
Oh my gosh.
He didn't have any family, nothing. So there was nobody, looking for him, or poor Mike, nothing.
Nobody.
No.
Wow. Well, that's a great story, though.
Crazy.
That was a crazy story.
I can't believe I hadn't heard it before, but
Me neither.
R.I.P. R.I.P.
Yeah, good on him.
Just don't sign papers. Like, read your papers. Do not ever sign papers without reading them. No matter who, even if you gave me a piece of paper, I'd look at it.
Well, I would hope so.
And you would too.
Yes, I would.
You're crazy.
I'd be like, I'm going to read this.
Even if you said, I'm going to give you a Buckeye. I'm going to give you a Buckeye, peanut butter ball. I'd still be like,
oh, wait a minute now. I'm teetering. I'm teetering on the Buckeye.
I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it. I'm going to eat that Buckeye and I'm going to read it. Even a rum ball, even a bourbon ball, I'm still going to read it. Now, I might be a little fuzzy by the time I'm done reading it, but I'm reading it.
Wow.
Read your stuff.
Read it. You got to read it.
That's what I got.
Well, I have a question.
Okay.
Is there a serial killer operating in Central Texas? Is there?
I would almost guarantee it.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. There's this place outside of Houston, called Lady Bird Lake. And so far, they have recovered 10 male bodies out of there.
10 out of one lake?
Out of one lake.
And are the police saying they're not connected?
Yep.
Oh, my God.
So the first 5 were in 2022. they found 5 bodies. And then in 2023, they found 5 more. So, is there a serial killer?
There has to be.
The police are saying we're not putting out any kind of public safety notice. We don't think there's a serial killer. All of these have been drownings. The autopsy shows they're drownings. Just please make sure that you are aware of water safety and you take precautions.
10 random men died in a lake, in the same lake.
My question is there a serial killer whose mode of murder is drowning them?
Well, that's certainly what it's either that or there's some live vine at the bottom of the lake that's pulling people under.
Jason Voorhees.
I mean,
it's up in that lake.
Listen, Jason Voorhees, you need to settle down.
I'm just saying, I can't believe that there's not more. Now, I just found a guy on Twitter to follow that's doing a lot of research. He's actually researching all of the drowning deaths of the men in our country because there's so many unexplained drowning deaths. And I did talk about at one time the smiley face killers,
right?
Or the smiley face killings where young athletic men go missing, usually from a night out at a bar,
right? And
they get found later in a body of water, and near where they feel like they were put into the water or went into the water, there's usually a spray painted smiley face.
Right.
It's always the same kind. So this guy is wondering if these are related to that or if it's something else.
Have they been able to tell when the people drowned?
I have to go and read more about the autopsy reports.
And were they missing people? Like, have people been looking for them? Like, what the heck is going on in Texas?
So I need to do a really deep dive, but I am so intrigued by this.
Yes.
Because for 5 in 1 year and 5 in the next year, seems like there was a rest period, right?
Right.
And then there's 5 more. And my whole thing is, okay, let's say they drowned. Well, did they drown in that body of water or did they drown somewhere else and get transported to that body of water?
You want to have a biologist take a look at bacteria and
that's in their lungs.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm just telling you, I'm starting to kind of scratch the surface on this, but I'm going to keep you updated because this to me is very intriguing.
Please do. And in the meantime, don't go swimming in that lake.
Ladybird Lake. Stay away from it. Don't even picnic on the side of it. Like, don't even picnic at Ladybird. No. Like, let's just rope the whole lake. I don't even know how big the lake is, but let's rope it off.
I say drain it.
Drain
the lake. It's going to be so much easier. There's
probably more bodies in there that we don't know about.
If you drain the lake, then people can't dump any more bodies in there.
That's true.
It's done.
It's like that Lake Mead that went dry up in, is it New York? And they found all of these bodies, a lot of them in like the big oil drums.
Right.
And they think it was just a dumping ground for the mob.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But Texas, come on now.
I know.
What's going on?
Yeah. So if you live in Houston and you know anything about this case or these non-related cases, the air quotes are going again, guys. Give us a shout on one of our social medias or email and let us know, because I'm going to start digging and see what I can find.
Yeah.
Because I've always been really curious about those smiley face killings.
Right.
I've done a lot of reading on them. I've read about all of those victims. I covered it. I don't know if I covered it on this or if it was a Patreon episode.
No, I think we did talk about it on an episode where we had somebody else on.
Okay. Maybe so. Yeah. If they think this is related to that, that's really amazing, because most of those killings it's all been East Coast, but I think it's been a lot north.
Right.
And of course, Texas is not the East Coast. So some people think it's a cult.
Oh.
It's a smiley face cult.
Oh, God.
And that's what's happening across the United States. It's more than one person operating, and it's a cult that's doing the serial killing.
Oh, wow.
So that's one of the theories.
Ooh,
I know.
that's interesting.
So all our Texas friends, stay out of the Ladybird Lake,
Don't
please.
go to Ladybird.
No, let's just stay away. Stay away, Ladybird. She's dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
And then some people have been asking the police, like, could you put some cameras up maybe? Or like, something. If you think it's so dangerous, then are people patrolling it? Can we get some lifeguards?
Right.
Like, what's happening? So I don't know, but I'll keep reading and I'll keep
drain
digging.
it. I'm just saying right now, drain the lake.
Can you drain a lake?
Yes, of course you can. Drain it.
Are you sure?
Yes.
How do you drain a lake?
You put a pump in and you drain it.
That's a lot. Where's all that water going?
How big is this lake?
I'm not sure. I'm going to find out how big is Ladybird Lake, because I mean, I think about Lake Gaston. I don't know how you would drain that lake.
Well, it would take more than one pump.
You think it takes
A bunch of pumps. Pump it out. You pump it into a ginormous tanker truck.
All right. Let's see. Part of the Colorado River that runs through downtown Austin.
All right.
Wow. It stretches over 400 acres, Sugar.
Whatever. So are they finding them all in the same area of the lake or up and down? Or we need more info.
Yeah, I'm going to have to.
You're on it.
I'm on top of it. I
To
am
be
on
continued.
it. TBD, TBC,
Taking care of business. TCBY.
Wait.
Go on, Elvis.
No, TCBY.
Yeah, taking
That's
care of
yogurt.
business. Yes, but it's also
TCB.
TCB. Leave the No, we don't know.
We don't have any idea, guys.
We don't know.
Well, we're happy to.
Taking care of business, yo.
That's exactly what Elvis said.
Yes.
That's what
yo.
he said. He was trying to get into the rap business or the rap genre. And he was like, taking care of business, yo. TCBY, y'all.
Send us an email.
Can y'all just send us an email for any random reason? Because we don't even know if anybody's listening anymore. Could you let us know somebody out? We need more than 10 people listening.
Okay.
If it's less than 10,
no,
we're shutting it down.
You know they're listening.
We're shutting it down if it's less than 10.
The numbers tell us that they're listening.
Okay.
All right. Calm down. Calm down, Lucille. You're fine.
I'm all fired up.
It's murder.sugarcoated@gmail.com.
Yes. And we're on all the socials. We're on Threads, Instagram, Facebook. We're on Facebook twice.
Nice.
And then we're on Twitter, the X. The Twitter X. Oh, and in case y'all have not been following the Alec Murdaugh saga.
It makes me so nauseous.
I know. Now on social media, I just call him AM because I don't even want to say his name. But he took a plea deal to all of his financial crimes. And they wrapped it up in a pretty little package with a bow on it. He got 27 years, and it's all varying sentences, and some of them are concurrent, some of them are consecutive, but it ends up 27 years. He has to serve 85% of that, which means 22 years. And then his attorney said in a press conference, this is how callous this man is. He said, I look forward to enjoying a good golf game with Alec when he gets out of prison.
Oh, my God. How old is his dick?
Oh, he's probably 120. I mean seriously. He looks like the very beginning scene of Benjamin Buttons. Just saying.
God, we're getting shut down. This man is like a prominent figure in the world of politics of South Carolina.
He's a scumbag.
We're getting shut down.
I don't care.
It's been nice knowing you. Hey, but still email us.
Yeah, still email us. Hopefully we'll be able to find our email on the tablet we get in jail. Yeah. Oh. All right, guys, stay sweet.
Yes, and don't murder.
No, if you kill people,
we will talk about you.
Even if you're a serial killer.
Yeah, and not everybody can withstand poison. So
that's right.
Watch out.
Watch out,
Don't
guys.
sign any papers.
Don't eat sardine sandwiches for any reason, especially if they have nails in them.
No.
But there should be no sardine sandwiches.
No.
Never. We just don't need them.
No. I agree.
Not necessary.
The depression is over.
I know.
You don't have to eat sardines anymore.
No wonder it was called the Depression. People were damn depressed.
They were.
They
That's
were.
what we got. Potted meat and sardines.
God, and turpentine. All right, guys.
This has been Sugar Coated Murder
Keep your head on a
Podcast,
swivel.
a deliciously entertaining
Bye.
true crime podcast. Like what you heard? You can always explore past episodes by visiting sugarcoatedpod.com. Don't forget to like our Facebook fan page and share with friends. Thanks for listening to Sugar Coated Murder Podcast.
Thank you for listening to Believe. You can show support to your host by subscribing to the show and giving us a 5-star rating on your preferred platform. Check us out at Believe.com and search for BLEAV on YouTube.